Why is it important to have an increasing focus on crisis management? Frankly, it's always been important, so we're not talking about a new development. The world is far more volatile than ever it was, and that volatility expresses itself both in political terms and in commercial terms, and of course it impacts in every country. There's no country now that is isolated from what's happening elsewhere in the world, and therefore almost any form of crisis, whether it be political, terroristic, criminal, can occur and can affect businesses. Increasingly, even small businesses are only able to be truly successful if they internationalise. So again, that exposes them to all sorts of problems and crises and issues. You need to have understood the nature of the sort of crises you might face, which are many. You need to understand also that there will be some crises which come at you totally unexpected, and they are almost challenges to imagination and creativity. So the unexpected will happen. A company needs to have ensured that it's gone through a proper process of preparation and planning, and that preparation and planning then is moved into the field of training, and that those people who are going to primarily manage crises at whatever level are given the training that is necessary to give them that comfort feeling that whatever happens, they're capable of managing it in the team, and that the team as a whole is totally coordinated. If they don't have that comfort feeling, then management will never really be possible. If I'm asked to give initial advice to a company or leaders of that company's crisis management planning as to what first and foremost they should do, I would say they need to stick to the principles of crisis management, and there are many, certainly over 20 principles in my book, and stick to those principles and make sure they're understood, because they will be a lasting guideline to create suitable and positive outcomes. Of those principles, I think at the moment I'm drawn to thinking of 4 in particular. One of them is the aptitude of those managing the crisis, and they need to be the sort of people who remain calm in a crisis. They don't panic. A thing is not too great and overwhelming for them. That's an aptitude issue, and it's often not checked. The next one that I would say is that preparation and training is fundamental. If you don't do it, you're not going to get it right. If you do it, you're going to be able to get the best of results. The next, I think, is never lie. Crises often involve speaking to the media, and the media will test your ability to be able to explain what has happened, why it has happened, and sometimes that can be embarrassing, sometimes very difficult for other reasons. But whatever, don't lie. Lies will catch you up, and lies will actually be exposed. And the last thing that I would say, that in crises we are trying to protect many aspects, human aspects, business aspects, reputation, but the most important for me, whatever you do, people count the most. Is a crisis plan necessary for all sorts of organisations? I think the answer is, in principle, yes, in that any sensible organisation will think about risk exposures that it has and how it might deal with those risk exposures. That's the beginning of a plan. If we ask the question, how detailed do they need to be, then clearly a very small business will have to address far fewer issues than a very, very large multinational business. So I think it's one of scale. All companies should have some sort of plan. In some cases it may be extremely short and known so well because there are only a few, if that, management staff there. And the bigger companies need to have a greater degree of detail because of the complexity of those companies. But even having said that, even at the biggest companies, there is a danger in having plans which are over-detailed and over-complex, because when a crisis strikes, they may actually not be followed or may be impossible to follow. So less is more is a phrase that's often used, and less is more is a good dictum to follow when creating a crisis plan.